Christmas time is...
Oh yeah, is that Christmas time? You can do a little,
Oh, I'm
little.
frozen. Oh,
Yeah,
no, I'm
yeah.
frozen.
You're
I'm frozen.
frozen. I'm frozen. No, you're frozen.
Unfrozen caveman
All
lawyer.
right. Your modern technologies freak me out and complicate me.
It's all too much for my primitive mind to
Yeah.
understand.
The people that have tuned in are saying, "What the hell is going on?" And you know it is the Trendzone Football Dudes Extranomical Fantasy Show. He's Dave. I'm Casey, and it's time to talk a little Christmas. I mean, fantasy.
Casey, can you live this fantasy life?
Dave, it's not reality. It's just a fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, baby. Want to let the peoples out there know, make sure you like and subscribe to the Trendzone Football Dudes Extranomical Fantasy Show. You know why? Because that subscription will also get you dialed in for the Trend Zone, where each and every week of the NFL season we hit all the top trending stories, as well as give you previews of all the games, not just some of the games, all of the games. So make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that sweet, sweet football dudes goodness.
That is the Trendzone podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Dave, let's get into it. Survivor Three Strikes pool. I took a look before the show today, and I'm sitting up there by myself with just one wrong after was that week 2? No, or week 3 when the Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. My only blemish so far.
Dude, a couple of weeks ago, I was feeling great. What the hell happened?
I woke up in a great mood.
I tell you what, I lost 2 straight now. My pick last week, Detroit over Green Bay, was a major loser. So I
Yeah.
felt pretty confident rolling into that one, the way Detroit was playing. However, in retrospect, it is divisional, and the Pack have been playing better of late. So,
Yeah.
but I was running short on decent picks, so I had to pick somebody, and it's 2 straight weeks taking a strike. So out of the big money pool last week, now I'm just hanging in there, man. Just
Hang in there,
clawing.
baby. It's almost Friday.
Oh,
Well,
jeez.
I went with the Chiefs over the Raiders last week, and all of a sudden it was 14-0 Raiders, and I was like, well, if I go down with the Chiefs, I'm going down with the Chiefs, but they went on like a 30-3 run or whatever it ended up
Right.
being and destroyed the Raiders.
That's right. Yeah, the most popular correct pick last week was Tennessee over Carolina. The who's playing Carolina strategy panning out pretty good there. Most popular incorrect, Minnesota over
Oh,
Chicago, 28+%. Got burned on that one. Going
yeah, I
for the
got
Vikes over the Bears.
a handful of guys in our survival pool, whatever you want to call it. There was a bunch of them that went down last night. So
All right.
what a weird game too. It's just
Yeah.
like felt like the Vikings were kind of turning it around, and
Every time they got something going, Dobbs made a big catastrophic error. So one thing we know about football, especially at the NFL level, turnovers are hard to overcome,
yeah.
especially when you're handing them out like it's Christmas time.
And when you start getting that tape out there, the defensive coordinators, they get paid too. They start figuring out what you like, and that's what they try to take away.
Yep.
Dave, the most popular correct or most popular picks going into next week is your Carolina theme, the Bucks over the Panthers, or the Jags over the Bengals. Depends what
Whew.
kitty cat you like better. What are you going to go with?
Yeah, right now I am leaning towards Tampa Bay over Carolina, although I believe I could do the other one as well. So I'm going to
Yeah.
have to debate that particular issue heading towards there and see if I'm comfortable with going with the majority or the second majority.
Yeah, I don't like really going that. This might be your last chance to use the Bucks if you need them, so it might be worth it there. But
Yeah.
the Jags hosting the Bengals on Monday night, Duval, it's going to be banging down there. So
Whew.
we shall see. Good stuff. All right, David, it's time for our fantasy go back starts of the week. If you could hop in the DeLorean and go back and change your fantasy team to get some extra points, would you, could you, and would you have won?
I won both leagues decisively, although decisively is a little of a stretch, as it was that Chargers Ravens game where he had the Ravens defense and I had Keenan Allen and he had Gus Edwards, and we were neck and neck all game long. And every time that there was a sack or a fumble from the Chargers. I'm down. I was up by 1 point for a while there. I ended up pulling away, winning by about 4 or 5 ultimately. Keenan coming and making a couple of plays late, but nothing that I could have done would have swapped out anything. I got the win. I made the right plays there. In my other league, I completely dominated. There were a couple of tweaks I could have made for about 3 or 4 more points, but it wouldn't have made any difference.
Dude, the Foul Boys smashed Bolt Action going over 151 points. I could have gotten like another 1.6 had I benched CD Lamb for Christian Watson, which would never happen. My team was dominant on
Crushing.
last week. And then in my other league, I had Gus Edwards, who really didn't do anything,
Ugh,
and
yeah.
he had DJ Moore going into Monday
Monday.
night in a PPR league.
Oh boy.
And I had a big lead by the end of the night. I had a small lead, won by like 3.5 points. So, but I had plenty of points on the bench. I had Brandon Cooks on the bench. I had Jacoby Myers on the bench. So
Woo.
coaching almost cost me, but I got that dub anyways.
Yeah, in our league, you had the high score. I came in second place, and Don, who you destroyed with bolt action, was third place. That's the lamest when you actually have a really good score and you still lose.
Or you lose and you still make money.
Yeah, there you go. At least there's a side that you can, a bright side in there you can
Hey,
figure
Dave,
out.
this cup is half full.
There you go. The eternal
Hmm.
optimist, Casey.
That's right. All right. Well, we got through that business. So now it is time for this business, which is total fantasy domination. Dave, give me a quarterback.
Ooh, I'll tell you, it seemed like I had it with Dak in the bank after he killed it. But then guess what? Josh Allen ended up going into a shootout with Hurts, and it was Josh Allen taking the fantasy honors this week. Buffalo, 339 passing yards, 2 TDs through the air, an interception, 81 rushing yards, and 2 rushing TDs. Phenomenal performance for the Bang Dang Owls, who I was going against. I was feeling super awesome when I had a score of like 78 cruising into Sunday morning. Sure enough, boom, we're neck and neck all the way through Sunday night.
He needed one more touchdown. Josh Allen did. Oh, that incompletion instead of would have been a touchdown.
And that would have killed me.
Woo! Well, part of the reason the Foul Boys were so dominant was Kyren Williams, baby.
That's right.
He might still be running 143 rush yards, 61 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns.
Former Notre Damer with the
Right off the
game.
IR, back
Right.
into total fantasy domination.
Beautiful. How about Mike Evans at receiver for your Foul Boys, Casey? No wonder you put up all those points. Tampa Bay Bucks receiver Mike Evans, 70 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Wow, pretty nice.
And then from the waiver wire, Tyler Higbee, 29 receiving yards. That doesn't sound like much, but he had 2 touchdowns. This Rams offense really starting to heat up. We're going to get to that in just a little bit here. But we run our league through NFL.com, 12 teams, non PPR, no flex, 3 wides, 2 running backs, 6 points for a touchdown by the quarterback, as it should be, but only 5 bench spots. So weeks like this that are coming up, 6 teams on a bye, are very brutal.
Yeah.
But Dave, why our league rocks so hard is our waiver type.
Yep.
Kudos to you, Commish. Let the peoples know.
The waiver type is move to last after claim never reset, meaning if you have a successful waiver claim, then you are then have the lowest waiver priority moving into the next week. However, if you decide not to take a player in a given week, then your waiver position goes up week and week and week. And then so finally, if you've held back for a little while, you've got that top spot. So there's value in not grabbing a free agent when you can get almost as good of a player a waiver player when you can get almost as good of a player through free agency and hold on to that valuable pick. I should have used it last week on that Dolphins defense that we were recommending against the Jets.
Yes.
My brother was 2, and he got a killing off of that Miami defense. That would have been the pick to make. That would have been a good time to execute that number 1 waiver wire. But nonetheless, I still have it. My favorite spot to be, number 1.
Yeah, the Miami had 33 points in that. I was going up against them, so I was a little bit worried about it. But Foul Boys dominated, and I don't know. Someone suggested making a cash reward for holding on to that number one waiver pick for most consecutive weeks. I vote against it. People are talking about it, so but
It sounds like a pretty good idea to me. I could
as of
use a
right
little
now,
cash.
yeah, we're gonna hold off on that one. Dave, I just mentioned the bye, and it's not only
Yeah.
that, it's the teams that are on bye. The Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, Chicago Bears, Las Vegas Raiders, Minnesota Vikings, and the New York Giants. Sorry if you had Tommy DeVito going at quarterback. Not this week, my friend.
Nope. Man, I'll tell you, that is a lot of teams. So, and I believe this is the last bye week, right, Casey? Week
Yeah.
13. So that
Yeah.
cleans it up moving forward. Everybody should have everybody at full strength there. But this one, boy, 6 teams on a bye puts you in a pinch a lot of different ways, especially like you said with our short benches.
No doubt. And especially with the Ravens and the Bills, a lot of players represented by those teams
Sure.
are not going to be available this week. So, David, let's go ahead and start with the quarterback. Actually, some decent options here if you are on one of those bye weeks.
Yeah, no question. I mean, you talked about it briefly earlier. Stafford is back. That Rams offense seems to be clicking. They're playing against Cleveland, which is a tough matchup, no doubt. But again, with 6 teams on buys, you're going to need to go somewhere to get a quarterback in a pinch here. And he had 4 touchdowns last week, so look for him to continue to play well.
Yeah, dude. And, you know, they're not putting up a bunch of points, but I like Carr against Detroit. It's a home game for the Saints. They're going to have to put up some points to hang with the Lions, so he might get it going there. Hopefully, he's got Chris Olave back. He left the game with the concussion, so that'll be something to monitor. If you
Yeah.
can't get him, maybe you go with Minshew, the porn stash at Tennessee. And Dave, you're going to ask, what am I smoking here? But what about Kenny Pickett versus the Arizona Cardinals in Pittsburgh?
I guess blame Canada is the new motto for the Steelers here. They get him out of town. I think it's Sullivan who was at the helm there calling the plays. Um, yeah, looks like Pickett is he's auditioning now, so he's got to put together a couple of good weeks to make sure that he proves he's the guy there, and it wasn't him, it was that other guy that was calling
Yeah,
the shots. Get him out of
that
here.
guy north of the border, buddy. That's what it was all about. All right, Dave. Actually, some pretty good names for running backs too, considering all the teams on bye weeks.
Yeah, my top go-to here is Samaje Perine. It'll be
My
at
Facebook friend.
yeah, there you go. It'll be at Houston. He had 7 for 55 and a touchdown last week. He had 11 yards through the air, so not a bad number in a pinch. Again, with this many teams on buys, you're going to need somebody to get something done there. So look for Perine to at least get some touches. Kind of in a nice rotation with that Broncos team that's put together a nice win streak.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go. We told the people about him, Rico Dowdle, for the Cowboys on Thursday night against the Seahawks. He's not getting a ton of opportunities, but what I like most is the Cowboys seem to be getting that run game going in there, and Rico has proved himself to be a very solid and capable running back, especially in the red zone. There, TP looks nice too, but there is definitely a share of the carries available in that game. And dude, Jeff Wilson, those Dolphins playing against the Washington Commandos. They got run all over on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Maybe those Finns are going to run all over them again this weekend.
Another guy I want to throw in there, Casey, Royce Freeman. He is going against Cleveland. Again, it's tough when you have a tough matchup like that, but sometimes it's the player, not the matchup. They got to go for, even though Freeman wasn't the main fantasy dude last week for the Rams, he was productive with 13 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. And he will definitely be in the rotation there. So look for Freeman to get some, a decent score, at least some opportunities.
Yeah. Now, these were the slimmest pickings of them all, especially with us having 3 wide receivers. It's funny because I scour a lot of the waiver wire pickups on X or Twitter or wherever you're looking out there. And most
Sure.
of the cats they're offering up have been on rosters in our league for weeks.
Yeah.
This is one of the toughest leagues out there. I'm telling you, people,
Yeah.
our league is very competitive. So it's tough to find. But Dave, if you sift through there, you might find something. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I'm going with my Rams theme, staying with it. And Tutu Atwell is the only Ram receiver available. Both Cup and Puka have been a little banged up lately, and this offense is clicking now. So he only had 3 catches last week, but 76 yards of offense there. So not bad again in a pinch.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to go with Justin Watson for the Chiefs. They're on the road at Green Bay. It's a pretty tough defense. We talked about the Chiefs needing to find a number one that they can trust. Rashi Rice came up huge last week,
Sure
but
did.
so
Yep.
did Justin Watson. So I think he's developed that rapport with Patrick Mahomes. So it's going to be a crapshoot on who gets those touchdowns. Kelsey's been needing some to be fed a little bit more. We haven't seen that, so he might be on tap there, but can't go wrong with a player on the Chiefs offense.
Yeah. Right. I mean, no question about it. They're going to get touches eventually, one way or another.
That's right. All right, David, let's go ahead and move this over to the toy ends.
Yeah, I'm going to start it off with Tyler Higbee. My Rams theme continues. He caught all 5 of his targets for 29 yards and 2 touchdowns in last week's effort. Of course, that put him on the board in the fantasy domination category. And sticking with the Los Angeles theme, Gerald Everett, he missed a couple games with injury there, but he was back into the action. He had 4 targets, 43 yards, and a touchdown in the losing effort to the Ravens. But that Ravens is a strong, strong defense. He's going to get another go at it in New England. And look for him to be a big part of the game plan. Again, Mike Williams gone. Josh Palmer hasn't been able to play. Guyton has been working through injury. So they bring guys up from the practice squad. So he's going to be a dude that is targeted. And Justin Herbert continues, even though the Chargers keep losing, he keeps ripping it and putting up big numbers. So look for Gerald Everett to make a statement this week.
Yeah, I thought that Ray Lewis touchdown celebration might have pissed the Ravens off just a little
It was a
bit.
tribute.
Oh, I see. He should have prefaced the dance with telling those guys that because they were really angry after that.
It was an honor he gave him. Gave him a nice tribute. You know, it was very nice. I thought it was very respectful.
Dave, you know who I'm going with here?
Who? Who by name specifically? I can't imagine.
Patrick Christopher Sarsipius Fryermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers against those Arizona Cardinals.
All
Over
right.
100 yards last week. This guy has been missing from this Steelers offense. Maybe it was Canada, maybe it was Fryermuth, but over 100 yards last week. You get some of him doing the dirty work there. That's going to open stuff up for Deontay Johnson and Pickens there. So I really like Fryermuth in this one. Also, Drew Sample with the new quarterback there at Cincy. It's going to be tough sledding there with that Jacksonville pass rush. You got to get the ball out of there a little bit. Browning might get a sample size from the tight end. Oh, and one more. Otten versus Carolina in Tampa Bay. This guy's been finding pay dirt quite a bit. So if all your toy ends are on buys, these are all doable options. Okay,
Yeah.
Dave, let's get into kickers.
There
The
you
hell
go
with
again,
that.
Casey.
We're going to skip kickers and go right on to defense.
Yeah, and again, tough pickings in this category, but I'm going to go starting off with Jacksonville. Defense has been playing pretty well, and they're going against Cincinnati, who obviously has a lot of good weapons, but with the inexperience at quarterback there, I think it's a good selection to go ahead and grab the Jags. They're going to get some sacks. They're going to try and create some turnovers. So look for that to be a pretty good choice for you for the Jaguars this week.
Yeah, it's going to be going crazy down there Monday night for the Jags. And I like the Colts at Tennessee. They've been playing pretty solid defense, getting a lot of hits and sacks on the quarterback there. And also Tampa Bay hosting Carolina, a 1-win Carolina team. Poor Bryce Young is taking a ton of hits, getting a ton of
Yeah.
sacks, throwing a lot of interceptions. If they can shut down the run, they will be feasting on the pass rush there.
No question. I think that's a pretty tasty matchup for the Bucks.
Yeah, dig it. Oh, and I'm going to throw your Chargers out there against New England. All kinds of trouble at quarterback for those
Yes.
Patriots.
Uh-huh.
Chargers playing close. This is a team they should dominate.
Yes.
All the
And the
quarterbacks are
Chargers have
very
feasted
given.
on some of the inexperienced quarterbacks they've got. They had multiple sacks against Bagel Bagel Moach, whoever the
The
Bears guy
bear,
is. Please,
the
please
secret
help
Bajan
me out.
man.
It's Bagel Vegas, and also Aiden O'Connell got worked pretty good when they played the Raiders. So maybe they can feast on this. They have a pretty good pass rush. So
Yeah, and if they can shut down the run and really force it into the QB's
yep,
arm, it could be a long day for those Patriots. We're on to remind you, make sure you subscribe to the Trendzone podcast each and every week of the NFL season. We talk top trending stories, preview all of the games. Then we go into the combine, free agency, draft prep. We do it all. Subscribe and you won't miss anything.
yep, that is the Trend Zone podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. While you're out there dominating your fantasy, go ahead and bookmark the footballdudes.com, your new favorite home for everything NFL.
All right, that's going to do it for Dave. I'm Casey. Thanks for listening to the Trend Zone Football Dudes Extranomical Fantasy Show. We're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. And may your reality, your reality and fantasy meld into one extranomical football weekend. Whoa, that's an extreme close up, huh?
Too close.
All right, we're out of here.